Hello, welcome back to the Active Ingredient Podcast. This week's episode is something that I am very, very passionate about, and it is something that is very intertwined with what I do for work. So I have my whole career amplified brands and founders. It's something that comes very naturally to me since I was little. There's something in me that just identifies things pretty quickly, and then I just naturally become obsessed, and I feel like I have a very, very high bar for the brands, the people. My antenna for this has gotten more and more sharp throughout the years, and I'm able to kind of see through a lot of things, which is super cool and amazing. And it has allowed for me to feel into a lot of the brands and the founders that feel like they're creating from a really real place. And I saw this amazing podcaster, founder, artist, and creator say this once, and it resonated with me so freaking deeply that I wanted to do a whole episode on this concept. What this creator said, her handle is Organic Olivia. I'm sure that some of you that listen to Active Ingredient know who I'm talking about. She has this amazing supplement brand. Her brand is absolutely one that feels like it's rooted in truth. But she once said, founders are artists. Like, do not get it twisted. Founders are artists. And it really struck a chord with me. It landed, and I was like, this is so true. And I feel it and I sense it in so many different founders and entrepreneurs. And those are the ones that I gravitate towards. They're the ones that are creating from a place that's not necessarily from demand or from investors' needs or from anything other than them being able to quiet enough and listen to the core of them, something higher, something bigger, and create from that place. Sure, maybe they're informed by other things, but ultimately what they are creating is created from a place of listening and being able to materialize something from that thought or from that feeling or from that knowing. And so there are so many brands from every category that you can think of that are created in that way. And of course, I am actively open to learning about them, to experiencing them, to buying them, to being in the places of them, to every which way that you can interact with these types of products, spaces, services, educators, any of those things. I am always doing that. That's why I always joke that I feel like my whole life can be a business expense because I am constantly absorbing and this antenna that's out in the world, learning and absorbing. That's just what I'm doing all day long. It's my job to do, but it's also like my being, my essence is constantly doing that. And so I wanted to do a solo episode because I am launching a series with Active Ingredient about this concept and to have us all think about where it is that we are investing our money in, because I think that we all confuse art. And I for many years thought art was reserved for paintings, musicians, actors, like that was more the arts. But the more that I think about it, my definition of art is really being able to quiet enough to listen to some sort of truth that is circulating within your system, and you're able to create and materialize something from that truth and bring it out of you and into the world. That is art. That if it's rooted in truth and it's coming from that beyond place and you have materialized something, to me, that is art. Like that is art. And so if it's a business that's making money, great. That's like a whole other topic that I really want to be talking about, is that this concept of the starving artist is, I feel, limiting. I feel like it stops a lot of geniuses that we have roaming the world from wanting to tap into that part of themselves because there's a fear of not being able to live an expansive and abundant life. But it's absolutely possible. And it's not to say that you need to monetize your art. Those are two different conversations. I just think that there is a world where there's overlap. There's absolutely a world where there's overlap, and there are brands that already exist, places that already exist, services that already exist, with founders who have clearly done the inner work and are able to have those transmissions come through. They create from that place, and in return, they're creating abundant, beautiful businesses, or starting to, or like they're starting to get that traction within their businesses. And I feel like it's because we are also all waking up more and we're craving that connection to truth more and more and more. And so for this audience, for all of us, I know every single person here is so incredibly intentional with every single thing that we're doing. So I am sure that there are already brands that you think of that as I'm speaking, you're like, oh, I feel that way about this brand. I want to hear from you guys on what are those brands for you, because I have a pretty long list of the ones that strike a chord with me, but I'm curious the ones that you have on your radar, because I'm always just wanting to learn and hear more about those founders. And by the way, every single one of these people that I've had on the show that are founders of brands, that is exactly precisely who I have on this show. Like this whole time, that's exactly who I'm interviewing. That's who I speak to, because not that I only speak to founders, I speak to creators, I speak to artists. Like I'll speak to anyone that runs the gamut that's just creating from a place of truth, from a place of having listened and understood that something else is moving through them. So I am so excited about this series. I'm going to be doing it and launching it. I'm not exactly sure the cadence that I'm going to have it come out, but you'll see the title of the show will say Founders Are Artists Makeup Edition, Founders Are Artists Snack Edition, Founders Are Artists Service Edition, Founders Are Artists Whatever Edition. I really do believe that there are so many, and I want to keep learning more and more about all the ones that exist, because this is like the big why. And I have definitely talked about it on the show, because it is quite literally why I do what I do, is that I believe that when we vote with our dollars and with our attention, both of those things, our dollars and our attention. Why? Because those two things are very potent and powerful energies, right? Those are just two really, really potent energies. So the way that we vote with our money and our attention creates the worlds that we live in, right? That is where the power goes to. And I personally am over putting power in so many different places that like absolutely just do not do it. They have fallen flat. Maybe they served for a time in life. They no longer do. So I would prefer a million times over to be putting more and more resources into the hands of human beings who are centered, who are grounded, who understand that there is something beyond all of this and have created their businesses, their brands, their company cultures in a way that is nourishing. And not only is that the world that you will see externally, but it is also the world that you will start to live in internally. When you have things in your home that have that frequency and that vibration, slowly over time, those things compound. I am sure of it. I am absolutely sure of it. You feel the difference. And so as you are purchasing things in your life or seeing maybe how you can replace things that maybe you're thinking of, oh, I'm out of my dish soap. What can I replace it with that feels like it's more in alignment with me now? Or I am in the market for a new delicious chocolate. What's a chocolate brand that can align with me? That is, the chocolate industry is like a whole other separate conversation, because it's one that's needed a really big awakening, but there are really cool brands that are bringing a lot of the issues with the chocolate industry and the cacao industry. They're bringing it to the surface. So not to go on a tangent, but that's another example. Like in every single category of life, there are incredible human beings that are creating from a very, very rooted, true place. And those are the brands and founders that I want to see continue to succeed. I want them to have more resources and more momentum and energy behind them, because what they do with that ends up benefiting us all. And so that's why I really wanted to do this. I think we need to expand our view of what art is in general. I feel like art is it really is that. It's just any sort of creative thing that you are bringing in from a true place that you are creating and bringing into the world. You're materializing something. So yeah, I actually realized that I wanted to do this episode on Friday. And on Saturday night, I was walking to the car. I saw a little sign on the floor that said, buy art from people who are alive. I saw it and I was like, yes, absolute. Yes, truth, 100%. And then I was like, okay, let's define art. Like, let's expand what art means, because art is truth to me. Like anything that is just rooted in truth, it's art. And so the books you read, the food you eat, the body care brands that you're putting on your body, the workout clothes that you're wearing, the sheets that you're sleeping in, all of these things. And this isn't a conversation about consumerism. It's about intentionality. It's not about buying more. That's not the intention here. The intention is that we are human beings that do need to purchase things. I have struggled with this with my career too, because I'm like, wow, I'm out here talking about buying brands, but I'm like, yeah, but human beings need products. Like we need deodorant. we need, or I don't know if we need deodorant, but like we need toothpaste. We need body care. We need to wash our hair. Like we need these products that are in our lives. And need is, I guess, its own thing. But you know what I mean? We're going to buy those things anyway. So how can we just think of or feel into the ones that feel like they're truth for us? And so the series is going to be, every episode will be a focus on a specific industry. So for example, I have Founders Are Artists Body Care Edition, Founders Are Artists Skincare Edition, Founders Are Artists Snacks Edition, scent, supplements, movement, like locations in real life, movement places online, merch brands, home goods brands, online educators, all of these different ways that we spend our money. These are the ones that I feel like I have deeply vetted and have very much felt into. I have purchased several times myself and still purchase, like we'll go out of my way to purchase and can vouch for. I do think that the people that listen to Active Ingredient, there is this overlap. It's like this overlap of career and business and spirituality and intentionality and living a life in integrity, really. And so I wanted to bring this into the conversation because this is a very practical, tangible way to start creating your homes and your surroundings to vibrate more in the frequency of where you are and where you're trying to go to. And it's like these little things compounding over time really do add up. Like they really, really do. And you just become more and more aware. Like you start seeing a certain brand within one category that opens you up to be like, oh, I wonder if I could find that within this category. I still am feeling like, even though I know a lot of these brands, I'm like, I am always wanting to feel like I'm just scratching the surface. And I do feel like we're just scratching the surface because I feel like now is the time where more and more people have the resources to be able to create, have the understanding and the access to resources to be able to understand how to monetize these things and how to do it in integrity and in a way that it feels mutually beneficial. And like people are understanding that if you're actually doing that, it ends up being truly mutually beneficial. And I am curious with what's happening right now with the tariffs and maybe some of the hurdles that come with that. I'm curious because necessity is the mother of invention. Like I'm curious for the people that have been doing this type of level of integrity type work and are creating brands and products at that level. Those are the ones that I'm so curious on how they pivot, because there's no way that once you've done that work and that you're creating from that place, like you're not going to go backwards. You're only going to go forward. So I'm very, very curious on how they do that and how I will be doing that. I mean, my business, my ceramics business, Piano Piano, they're made in Italy. Like I'm also affected by the tariffs, and you can rest assured that we're definitely not going back in terms of integrity. That is for damn sure, especially after our recent trip to Italy to meet with all of the artisans. I cannot freaking wait to show you guys. If you follow Piano Piano, my ceramics brand, I cannot wait to show you the video content. So while we were there, we hired a videographer, and it was because we wanted to showcase the intentionality and the craftsmanship behind the products. And we hadn't seen the entire production line, to be completely honest, and seeing it and seeing the pride that everyone that is on the line is creating from, and it is true artistry. The videographer, I'm like, this literally looks like a movie. Like it looks like it's a movie quality type content. So I cannot wait till we start sharing that. We're figuring out how exactly right now to do it because there's so much of it. But especially after being so close to and seeing and meeting these artists, really, I'm like, there's literally no way that we are going to be walking back the level of it's like literally from here forward. Like we're just going to continue to double down, and just showcase and educate and connect. And like, I really do think that we're going to continue to value these things over and over and over and over again. And I understand that I'm coming from a place of privilege. And I also probably, like a lot of people listening, we are coming from a place of privilege. But if we are coming from that place, when we are in that level of frequency, it is a natural byproduct for you to want to reinvest into your communities, to reinvest into your teams, to reinvest in every single thing that you touch, which is exactly why I think it's important that we do it, because it like oozes out of you, you know? So it's just important. I'm really excited about it. And I haven't done a series like this for Active Ingredient that's like a very specific type of thing. And of course, I will be having some of the founders on, like there's certain ones that I already know that are on these lists that are going to be coming on the show, and we'll do their full Active Ingredient episode. But I'm going to be doing all of these founders or artist series as solos. And then I'll be talking about the brands that I'm obsessed with, why I'm obsessed with them, the specific products within their lines that I think are like the best, most useful, delicious, they really work, whatever it is, or whatever the case may be. And I'm excited because it feels like I'm more and more so consolidating and integrating all of the interests in a more clear and overt way. And that's what I just want to continue to do. You know, like every single thing that I'm doing to me is the same, even though there's different vehicles of how I do it. They all kind of feel like the same exact thing. But like doing this series, Founders Are Artists, and like shouting that from the rooftops, like for real, Organic Olivia, if you are listening to this, thank you for saying that and saying it so freaking clearly, because it's true. Founders are artists. And actually, I highly recommend that you follow Olivia's journey, because she's been super open about her whole inner journey, her inner process. She has a really, really powerful and great podcast called What's the Juice? And because she's been doing a lot of the inner work, and because she's been so committed to her own practices, and she has this extremely successful supplement business, it's cracked her open in a way where she's now also creating art in the traditional sense, as in she's now tapping into the music industry and her musical side. And I said this when I relaunched the podcast, that I was like, I want us to be talking more about why it is that we're doing this inner work to begin with. Like, why are we doing this work? And it's to get back to that essence, that level of unfiltered, unadulterated joy. And to me, she is a perfect example of someone who is doing that, transcending beyond these things. I mean, she still has her business, but like she is healed to the point of returning to her artistic nature. Even though she's been creating this business as a true artist, she's also going back to the traditional arts. So it's really inspiring. And I'm just really grateful to have examples like that in life that just crack you open, remind you, and show a path. And so I hope that you're as excited about this series as I am. I want us before, and I didn't want to talk about specific brands on this one on purpose, because before we get into talking about the different industries, I want every single person that's listening to take an inventory of your own situation right now with brands that you are feeling into, that you're like, yep, this is striking a chord with me. Like, yeah, this one feels like when I open this, like it just, there's something that you sense, you know? I want us to take an inventory first so that we understand what arenas of our life are open to trying something new or to swapping out. Because I don't think that this is about buying more. Like I said, I think that this is just like, okay, I feel kind of bleak about my laundry detergent, or I feel kind of bleak about my alternative milk, or I feel kind of bleak about my skincare. Whatever the category is that you're like, I don't feel that passionate about it, or I don't feel like it's rooted in truth. That's where I want us to all start taking an inventory check. That's it. These little teeny tiny changes that compound over time change the energy and the frequency in which you operate in. Every single thing. Like, it is all constant reminders in your system, in your sphere. And on a bigger scale, the way that you invest your money is a signal. It is a signal, and it is the life that you're going to be creating for yourself. And I know every single person here is all about creating beautiful, expansive, delicious, nourishing, peaceful, in integrity lives. And so this is a part of it. And I know this audience, and I know that you're all hyper intentional. And I'm actually more than anything curious on what you guys are into, to see if we're either matched, or if there's brands that I have 0% on my radar that I would love to have on my radar. And hopefully I can show you guys some great brands on my end. So that is all I have for you this week. I am sending you so much love. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your week, and I will see you next week. Bye.